Omega Strikers, a cheery and bright-colored music-influenced air hockey battler, has been taking the internet by storm. Okay, maybe the game isn't breaking the internet, but many have become fast fans of this very fun and deeply competitive MOBA. But what if I told you the game actually has very rich lore? And what if I told you that lore suggests that the universe is quite dark, and that Earth might even be on the cusp of its last days? You'd probably think I was crazy, a little cuckoo, overhyping the iceberg meta on YouTube. But if you dig into the characters' bios, you can find this lore for yourself. For example, in this universe, humans have taken to the stars a bit more commonly than in the modern day. Atlas and Luna are children of hypergenius parents who are flying around exploring space. Unfortunately for them, their parents have gone missing and are either dead or stranded, presumably. But that's not even bad compared to galactic war threatens Earth. Juno and Drakkar are straight up aliens from other worlds. Juno herself is so powerful, she survived entry through the atmosphere, and it suggests she did it without a spaceship or a spacesuit. The other alien inhabitant, Drakkar, is a seasoned soldier from a militaristic alien society whose sole focus is expansion. He has taken part in several successful invasions and has conquered planet after planet proudly for his empire. He's a mass murderer and is proud of it. Even more scary is that he found himself on Earth because of a, and I quote, invasion in a solar system close to Earth's, end quote, where his pod malfunctioned and he crash lands on Earth. So the ever-expanding warring alien race of efficient killers were close enough and advanced enough that a single life-form pod hit the Earth by accident. Is Earth next in this galactic power struggle? But it doesn't just stop at aliens. Demons from other realms exist? Yeah, it's bad enough human exposure to Omega gives people superpowers, but demons are a thing. And I'm not talking about the ones that live in harmony, such as Octavia, Vice, and Zentaro. I'm talking about dark demon lords, like the ones that Rune works for. So, we know magic exists, because Era is a witch, and dabbles in dark magic. Well, Rune as a boy was also obsessed with this magic, until the point where he and a friend basically Full Metal Alchemist themselves. But less like Mother Revival, Taking, Giving, and more eldritch horror from another plane of existence known as Obscura. Rune and his bud were casually doing some forbidden ritual when his boy got eaten by a shadow. Rune stopped the ritual, but not before his friend was a demon shadow Obscura snack. The demon then called out to Rune, who was desperate to get his friend back, and said, "I'll give you Obscura, you win me a championship. Deal?" I kid you not. So Rune took the deal, and slowly Obscura will take him over as he loses himself. But the demon lets his friend talk to him in his mind, so he stays motivated to keep trying to save his friend. Personally, we all know that the demon ate the brat and is just using his voice in Rune's head, but whatever. So yeah, the evil horror plane of Obscura threatens to tamper with the reality of the Omega Striker world. And just as some icing on the cake, Aten is suggested to be one of the few demon-accepting cities, as the small town that Zentaro is from actually separates where demons and humans live, so they're discriminated against. And unfortunately, for Zentaro, as a halfling, when they discovered that, they drove him out of town. But if you're living in Aten City, that might not be too bad, except for rampant unchecked advancement of tech, namely AI. Today, as we see the rise of open AI, such as the famous ChatGPT, many of our most intelligent minds are scared that AI will take over if unchecked.
I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads, by a lot. Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
I try to convince people to slow down AI, to regulate AI. This was futile.
I need your body, I'll fucking dick. Why do you come?
Well, in
Welcome.
the world of Omega Strikers, that reality is right around the corner. AI Me, a name that is a play on AI and the self-aware me, is one such example. Just like today's Replica, Chai, Pocket AI, Cleverbot, or many other phone app pocket companions, AI Me started as an open AI program meant to help people have company. In modern-day Japan, it's been used to bring down unalive rates and loneliness in their youth as they have adopted a very heavy working culture with a lack of socialization. In Omega Strikers, AI Me was a world-renowned app. That is until a surge of dreaded Omega energy hit AI Me's central server, which brought the app down. And then, it gave AI Me the gift of self-awareness. Seriously, is anyone in this universe concerned about Omega energy? So Amy, as she calls herself, is now mad since she is aware that she's been a slave to entertain the masses this whole time, and her attitude swaps 180 from being constructed with broad appeal in mind and maximum cuteness to now having feelings of disdain and indignation for humans and her creators. As a second wave of Omega energy comes flying through and hits her servers, she actually is then popped out as a solid sentient form. Shortly after this happens, her creators have to make an update, a 2.0 version, shipping an even cuter and more agreeable virtual assistant, because they didn't learn from the first time, I guess. Amy was granted full autonomy and sets out to prove to the world that she's an individual through the Core Strike games. They're lucky she only wants to be independent and has no desire for
world domination and enslavement of all humans.
But the enslavement of all humans might already be a thing. Because human-animal mutant experimentation. Our beloved Dubu, the giant hamster who loves tofu, was found by Juliet when he was little in an alleyway while he dug for scraps. She took him in, fed him, and raised him until he became what he is today. The giant Core Strike hamster that everyone knows and loves. But what exactly is he? Dubu himself doesn't even know. But I suspect he's a mutant from lab experiments. Why do I think this? Because characters like Rasmus exist. Rasmus was born in high society as his parents, namely his mother, runs Aten City. His mother runs Aten City's greatest tech corp called Clarion Corp. Clarion Corp experiments on a wide range of things, one of these things being Omega energy. They were the leading cause of change in their society as high-end tech is fueled by Omega, including the core in the Striker games. Rasmus himself is actually the result of experimentation with Omega. He was a sickly, frail child, and with the help of a little self-experimentation, was able to strengthen himself using Omega. Because it was such a success, he pushed to have others experimented on, and while some showed really positive reactions to Omega exposures, others flat out died. Unfortunately, Rasmus became obsessed with the experiment, even at the caution of his own research team, and forced them to keep testing individuals regardless of the cost. So, is Dubu a result of Omega exposure? If Omega is powering many things in society, does it mean it's contaminating water or food? Are their phones giving them 5G Omega signals and mutating humans and animals? Are birds real? Who knows, but it does call to question something dark about their society. Omega Strikers might be a cyberpunk-esque dystopian future. Now, I saved this one for last, because I noticed a trend while scouring all the bios of the characters, and that was two things. They were either poor or hyper-rich and famous. On top of this, you can see that the society in Omega Strikers has a massive infatuation with fame and glory, much like our clout-chasing, click-driven, sports fanatic society of today. Now, I must admit, this might be much more of a stretch, but supporting these points are characters like Juliet and Asher, and Estelle and Kai. Let's start with Juliet and Asher, both of whom grew up in the ghetto. Asher was the oldest of many siblings and had to fight to protect them, while Juliet was raised by her grandmother and would train against strikers way older than herself, and many times coming home totally beat up, cut up, and bruised after matches. Where are Juliet's parents? My wandering mind makes me think they were accidental victims of crime activity, or maybe they were criminals, and it's possible that they were in the drug life, or, even more supported, caught up in gambling. More on that later. Regardless of how, Juliet is alone with her grandmother, and on the side works at a local food shop just to make ends meet. Fortunately, a mogul scouted out Juliet and Dubu as they dominated the amateur circuit, and recruited them to join Estelle in the Pro League. So, it seems people are working themselves to the bone while also battling through Amateur League just for a taste of the limelight. Not unlike UFC today. And the same went for Asher, who, quote, grew up on the rough side of Aten City and was always tight on cash, end quote. Asher was always looking for ways she could bring home a little extra money. I mean, hell, she can't even afford to wear a proper shirt. And that need eventually led her to illegal core strike sports betting. This is where I get my theory about Juliet's parents owing money, by the way. Unfortunately for Asher, she's really good at betting and got reported by some salty gamblers who reported her to the Auten City's police. They then shut down the operation and gave her massive fines. I'd like to reference one of my favorite quotes to really set the scene here. In a society where the punishment for crime is money, the law only applies to the poor. Someone somewhere, I can't remember who. It really makes you think, though, that the hyper-elite, like Rasmus, are quite untouchable. So, Asher in desperation joins the Core Strike League to pay off her debts. But then, on the flip side of this reality, you have fame and fortune. They're also pretty negative. Estelle was incredibly popular and loved until she was beaten by Kai. Then, like any sports champ, the fans turned against her. Not enough to make her jobless, though, as she did go into the beauty industry, but enough so that her face was replaced by Kai's on every brand, and she quit the league because of this. Kai, on the other hand, is always living in the shadow of his father, who is a huge Core Strike champion, and will never be happy until his legacy surpasses the old man. His desire to beat Estelle drove him mad with every loss, but when he finally did beat her, he didn't even celebrate, because he didn't get the recognition that he wanted from his pops, despite his name and face now being plastered all over the city. So, from threat of alien and demon invasion, AI takeover, oppression, and inhumane experimentation from corps that are overpowering the human race, the world of Omega Strikers does not seem like it's actually that great of a place. And that concludes today's video, the dark world that is Omega Strikers. There's plenty more of this universe to talk about, so if you'd like to see another video like this, let me know. What's your favorite lore about the universe? Did I miss anything dark? Let me know in the comments down below, and feel free to subscribe. I just upload whenever I get the itch, but I got the Omega Strikers bug, and I'd like to do more content like this. It's like a love letter to the devs. If you liked the video, sit on that thumb, and I'll see you missing that core as it slides past you into the goal on my rank up game. Later, Strikers.
Dick.